In this video, we're going to talk about how to draw a model for a multiplication problem where your factors are fractions. Both of your factors are fractions. So here I have 1/2 times 4/5. Now I'm going to show 3 different ways to model this, 2 of which are very similar. So we're going to start with using a rectangle and an area model. And if I had grid paper, let's pretend this is grid paper, my denominators tell me the dimensions of my rectangle or of my shape, okay? So I'm gonna go, if this was grid paper, I'm gonna go 2 down and 5 across. 2 down, 5 across. And when we do this in class, we use 2 different colored pencils, so it's easy to see, and we're gonna represent that with markers today. So what that looks like on grid paper would be a 2x5. Yes, okay. So I now have 2x5. That is how I set up the area or the number of boxes that I have. In order to decide what to shade to show me my answer to this problem, I'm going to use my numerators. So 4 times 1 is 4, so then I simply shade 1, 2, 3, 4, and my answer is not 4, but 4 out of 10, or 4/10, which is the same as 2/5. Let's double check using the standard algorithm. Multiply numerator times numerator gives me 4. Denominator times denominator gives me 10. 4/5 matches 4/5, and again, when simplified, is 2/5. Now that's one way using an area model on grid paper. Now, if I just have a box and you are asked to create the model within the box, let's say I start with this right here. Okay. I'm going to model one factor at a time. Again, because this is like saying, or this is saying 1/2 of 4/5, I want to take a half of 4/5. I'm going to start with 4/5. So I'm going to divide my model into fifths. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fifths. Okay, and I want to show 4/5. So in order to do that, I'm going to shade 4 out of the 5 pieces. My numerator tells me how many to shade. So 4 out of the 5. So I've modeled 4/5. But I want to take half of 4/5. So I'm going to then divide what I have in half, and I'm going to take 1/2. So I'm going to shade half of my model. Okay. How I see my answer in this model is the overlap. In other words, what areas of my model do I have the same color, or did I go over twice? And in this case, it is right here. I have overlapped 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10, which is 4/10. And based on that other model, we said that becomes 2/5, and we know when we multiply out, we get 4/10. So that's a way to show it if you're given the rectangle and you have to partition it yourself. The last way to show it is in a circle. So if I have a circle, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to start with 4/5, so I'm going to have to divide my circle into fifths. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5/5, but I don't need 5/5. I need 4/5. So I'm going to shade in 1, 2, 3, 4/5. And I want half of 4/5. So I need to divide all of my pieces in half. Okay, so now they're in halves, and I want 1/2. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shaded, I want half of 8, which is 4, which means I need to shade 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. But I don't just have 4, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of a total of 10. How I know that 4/10 is my answer is because I look to the overlap, and it overlapped in 1, 2, 3, 4/10 of my model, which again is 2/5. So those are 3 different ways with grid paper, just a rectangle, and then a circle, all area models, to show how to represent a model when you multiply a fraction times a fraction.